Hello, welcome to WFNY Radio, the station created to start a financial evolution in your mind and pocket. Thanks for joining the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor presenting information that will shift your thinking on how you can own a home or invest in one. In today's program, I'm going to be discussing government home ownership options. Affordable housing was created many years ago to urbanize blighted areas. Labor leaders wanted their employees to live close to the city so that they could be at work on time. First things I'm going to discuss are the co-ops. We have two types of co-ops here that fall under affordable housing in New York. One is HDFC, which primarily abides by city laws. They have their own bylaws which vary from building to building. There is a 30 to 50% flip tax, no dividends, and they normally require that the buyers come in with all cash. As I mentioned in a previous program, many banks do not want to lend to these type of co-ops because these are what's known as limited equity co-ops. You normally have to participate in the board in one way or another because these particular co-ops tend to be smaller. The next type of co-op that is supported by New York City is called Mitchell-Lama co-ops. Mitchell-Lama co-ops differ from HDFC in that they have to abide by both city and state laws. They're also normally a lot cheaper than HDFC. With both type of co-ops, the income normally depends on the size of the family and also the price of the particular co-op that they're buying. $91,000 is the minimum for today. The income has to be verified yearly, and if you go over a certain amount, they normally issue you a surcharge. For both, you normally go to HPD to apply. You have to apply separately to each building. One application does not cover citywide both HDFC and Mitchell-Lama co-ops. Normally, the government agencies handle processing the paperwork first, and then it's given to the board of that particular building, and they normally require an interview. Therefore, there's a whole lot more paperwork involved in getting processed when applying to these co-ops as opposed to applying to regular market co-ops. There's also a very long waiting list. It's normally 3 to 6 years. You can be rejected if you have a criminal background, lie, or in some cases, if they go and they check where you currently live and where you currently live is not in great condition, that can penalize you and disqualify you. You can also get disqualified if you applied for one building and you changed your mind, you turned it down, and then now you're offered a second apartment either in that building or somewhere else, and you turn that down. You may not be able to participate in the program again. The co-op apartment must be your primary residence. There's no subletting and often no Airbnb allowed. You normally get reduced real estate taxes if you participate in either program. Seniors are exempt from high maintenance costs and yearly assessments. You can't sell these necessarily. Basically, what happens is if you wish to move, the purchase price and any market amortization, you get that back. But all the rest of the money actually goes back to the board for their operating expenses. If you die, it can only be passed on to the next family member, normally the one who has lived there for 2 years with you. If your family member does not wish to live in the apartment, then as a shareholder, they may have to pay some surrendering possession fees back, and they have 90 days to do that. They also have to arrange to remove your personal property out of the apartment. Most of these buildings have a 35-year lease, and then after that it expires. Now, our current mayor is working on extending these leases. A lot of times developers choose to keep the properties in these programs because if they don't, then they have to pay back taxes for 35 years. As we know, that can be extremely expensive. However, there have been cases when they have done that. So bear that in mind. The other thing is, if 2/3 of the shareholders of that building decide that they want to go private, then the program ends and the building converts from being affordable to being market rent. Well, not rent so much, because you're still a shareholder of that particular building, but the apartments will not be affordable anymore, and you'll get people coming in who will pay market prices. Sometimes the government actually will take the particular property out of the program, especially if they find that the board has not stayed in line with the laws governing either Mitchell-Lama or HDFC, depending on which program that particular building was in. And sometimes there are other reasons why a particular property may be taken out of the program. That's why, again, I can't stress this enough, it's important that you vote in your local elections and that you form some sort of relationship with your local political leaders. Next, let's talk about government homes and condos. Again, you apply through HPD. Also, they sell below market. They're normally subsidized. The requirement is that you have to live in that property for a specified number of years or pay the subsidy back. If you sell too early is when you normally have to pay the subsidy back. Normally 3 years you pay the full subsidy, and then you pay a certain percentage after those 3 years, going on normally either 10 to 25. If you pay the property off, then you don't have to worry about paying the subsidy back. There are certain income limits that are applied when you are buying these government subsidized or condo subsidized homes as well. You also, normally they like to look to see if you have been in the same field of work for at least 1 or 2 years. You don't necessarily have to be on the same job, even though that's preferred, but if you're in the same field, that's okay. There's normally an HOA. They normally don't interview you. However, you will be required to pay whatever common charges that apply. Well, folks, hopefully what I have presented to you will give you an idea of what it's like to either live in a Mitchell-Lama co-op, an HDFC co-op, or a government-sponsored home or condo. It's up to you to decide based on the information that has been presented. So that's all I have for you tonight. Hopefully the information will inspire you to reboot your mind, reset your focus, and make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass it along. Remember, each one reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.